Death be not proud.
Well, all right, you ignorant pigs, put down your crack pipes and your beer bongs. It's time for some of the first games in our Warhammer The Old World. This is not 8th edition, Warhammer The Old World Slow Grow campaign. This is after 2 weekends in, so we'll have 2 battle reports from this week and then a battle report from last week because I only played 1 game. And it's 500-point games, and then the next time after the 3rd game, we're going to be at 750 points because we're adding 250 points after every single 2 weeks of play. You're not going to be behind because next weekend they're all going to jump ship to play Infinity. So I should be able to get all of these battle reports out very quickly. But let's go into our first game of the, not the first game, but my second game. And this is Goblins vs. Dwarves, which is a classic grudge match at 500 points. And I'll leave a link to the campaign rules that we're using and everything like that. But one of the things, some of the ground rules are every unit that you bring that can bring a champion has to bring a champion, and then you can only have 1 magic item. You get X amount of gold per game, and then after you complete 3 games, you can buy another magic item. It takes it takes 3 games to earn up enough gold to buy 1 magic item or to allow you to buy a second magic item. I think it's up to 35 points costs. But we're going to go in here and we're just going to go to deployment. Let me cue this photo up. And then we're going to make myself smaller. We'll get rid of Akachan, the unofficial mascot, on full screen, and it's just a very simple setup. These games run very quick. So this is basically dwarf deployment, giant unit of crossbowmen. I kind of deployed on this oblique corner here to come at him. He's got 5 handgunners in the building. We decided that was garrisonable. You can put up to 10 guys in there. And then giant unit of crossbows. He's got Burlock, and the engineer is his, general in this one. So he's kind of going for a proto gun line. I've got a unit of archers. I've got a unit of hoppers. And I've also got a unit of 20 Night Goblins. One of them seems to be missing. Maybe I didn't put him in there, but and a Mangler Squig. So, and a Night Goblin Wizard right here. We're just going to zoom in slightly. You can see that. There you go. There he is. We'll go to the next photo here. Dwarfs turn 1. I think this is when it was taken, was after Dwarfs turn 1. They killed 2 goblins, and that's why they're missing. That's what my notes say. Nothing spectacular. I really wanted to use the wood here to my advantage. And he was like, what's with all this terrain? And I said, what do you want me to do? Do you just want me to sit in the middle about 18 inches away from you and let you shoot me for 6 turns? Well, yeah. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Goblins turn 2. We move forward. Big surprise. They're the hoppers. We actually gave him a name. His name is the Mater Hater, the Tomato Hater. And so, yeah, you want to name your units and give your characters some personality here. We're going to be putting the archers into that forest. Probably want to go out because you can only start with 1 spell, and if you take a wizard tower as your first territory, you could take a level 2, but he's got to start it out as level 1. So I only have Itchy Nuisance, and that's got a 15-inch range. Dwarfs turn 2. Dwarfs kill the Mater Hater over there on the far right. They shoot everything they have at the giant squig, and they kill him. So things aren't looking too good. Did he kill anything else? No. It looks like I went in turn 2, and I killed a dwarf. There he is in the back on my turn 2 after moving forward. I wanted to come within archer range. Having these archer bricks is actually, I think this is a good staple for Night Goblins, even if you don't have poison. Just having 1 archer brick of 30 or 2 archer bricks of 20 maybe, with 2 fanatics apiece. Just a musician to help them rally. Maybe you throw a hero in there with a great weapon. I know that takes away one of your shots, but if you line up 7, you get half, so you just round up. You get 4 when you're volley firing at these people. 6 plus 4 is 10. 14 shots isn't bad. and then the hoppers got a little closer. So what do we got? Dwarfs kill 1. Dwarfs 3. I think I activate on their turn, and I pop a fanatic through their ranks here. So yeah, I put a fanatic out there. They actually came down and decided to charge me to kind of see if they could do some damage. And then this is the best part. They lose by 4, and then they run right back to the fanatic and all got killed. So that's how Dwarf's turn 3 went. And now we're kind of in a good spot here. We're on his flank, as you can see here, just like that. And we got the hoppers on the other side. And the one thing is, again, I don't think I took a picture. So on my 4, hoppers killed 7 and killed 7 crossbows and then die in the result of that. And then this guy on my turn, he rolled doubles anyway, but he was going to roll to smack the wall of that castle. And that's always funny whenever the fanatics smash into something or roll doubles and they strangle themselves. That's always funny. So we're going into Dwarfs 5 here. We've moved, as you can see, we've moved up. A lot of these guys have been killed. Again, those hoppers, strength 5, AP 1, impact hits, 2 attacks apiece on the charge at initiative 7, weapon skill 4 with hate dwarves. I think there was only 4 that got into that combat. Cost him like half of that unit right there. And then we were, let's see here, what did we do? We shoot the, we shoot some of the rifles because we were lowering their toughness. We were actually getting some magic off and lowering their toughness. I know it's not that good, but I wanted to kind of denude that unit, bring it down to 3 guys. And but just on Dwarf's turn 5, I only noted that they killed 2 goblins. And what else did they do? They didn't reform. I just think they had a bad round of shooting, and that's it. We go into 5. Archers kill 1 dwarf. Side charge. So when I initially did the hoppers in there, I was hoping for a side charge. And this unit right here, we'll zoom in on that. Bop, bop, bop. This unit right here dropped the ball. They rolled like a 3 and failed the charge. And it was I think it was a 6-inch charge. It was a 6-inch charge. Not a huge amount there, but yeah. We didn't make that charge, and that probably would have broken this unit. Between this unit being on the side and the hoppers hitting them back pretty hard, we might have just had enough. But they used their stubborn, and the reason why I didn't deploy the fanatic against them is because they count as being entrenched, and I don't want to smack into a low linear obstacle. They used their stubborn, and they move back 2 inches, and we keep in on the side of them. Let's see if we're going to... Yep, there we are right there. And unfortunately, we only had him in support attacks. So it's kind of a drawn-out combat here. Now we're going into the final turns here. So in turn 6, Burlock and the hero came over here. My goblin actually swung and killed Burlock. And then they lost by 4. And it was a draw game. And that's kind of where the world ended. Do we have any other photos? Yeah, this is where the world ended. And that's about it for this one. Nothing spectacular in these small games. I think we killed it looks like we brought them down to 2 guys in that building. And that's about all we could do. We also smacked a fanatic through him, as you can see, past the other side of his hand here. We got one more. There you go. You see him. We ended up running away, but we rallied. And that's kind of where the world ends. And this was, we'll just officially call this the first game in the campaign. The next one will be... So here we are for the week 2 game. This is the second game against Dwarves. Same list. Nothing's changed. Again, things will be changing next weekend once we do the setup for 750 points. I just thought I'd get this one out. You got to give it a little value for your money here. So what we got here is the simple setup. We got the tomato hater out there on my far left. I have 2 tables, by the way, one in the laundry room. There's my dirty undies up there. Let's scroll in on that, everybody. Yes. Oh, we have to drag ourselves in. Yes, there it is. Those are actually clean. This is what happens when you are a single late 30 something else with no wife to fold your clothes. We're going to zoom in on that right there. Well, I don't got a wife to fold my clothes for me, so I live out of a clean hamper. That is the clean hamper, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the clean hamper. All right, back to the game. Dwarfs are arrayed as such. He's changed his list up slightly. These guys are rangers, so he went 10 and 10. He's got his riflemen there. We've got the obligatory piece of terrain. This is a completely different setup, by the way. This board is primarily set up for 40K. A lot of line, an outdoor game of 40K. A lot of what do you call it? Line of sight blocking terrain and stuff like that. So these things are actually really huge and everything. So we're going in. Dwarves turn 1. 2 dead goblins from crossbows. There you go. That's all we've got. Again, I'm sensing a pattern here. Let's see what happened on goblins 1 here. I moved, and that's about it. We moved to the left of this rock to just mute some of his shooting through there and everything. And then dwarves turn 2, they killed 3 hoppers, and I think what happened was he had rolled 3 1s. He had gotten some pretty good hits, but then rolled 3 1s, and that left some of those hoppers alive, of which there's only 6 of them. He does not like the hoppers. Big Papa and the hoppers. And then dwarves 3 looks like this. He ran away with the rangers to avoid the big squig. He was thinking about moving over there and throwing axes at it, but because of the way this terrain is, I would have gotten cover because it's just tall enough to be obscuring me by about half height-wise, even on this side. He could see me, but he decided to move over there around the rock, and I thought that's a really, really good move, by the way. Just moving away from the hoppers, making it harder for me. You can still shoot here and everything. I've got fanatics. These guys are entrenched, of course, and he put Burlock out there. The reason for Burlock is you can kill him and kill him and kill him. He doesn't gain anything, and he can always come back as a special character. So there's that. I wanted to get myself into range to start shooting back at him, and that's kind of my notion there. But again, he's got the arc right here on me no matter what. He can start firing, enfilading my goblins here. But we're gonna try to go after him, and I'll give you some strategy behind this afterwards. Okay, next photo. See if anything comes to memory because it was only yesterday. Okay, Goblins T3. The Thunderers failed a. It looks like Thunderers to. Oh, I got the. Okay, there's my note. I turned the Thunderers down to toughness 2. I had gotten a long bomb charge off with these 3. And we ate all but 6 of the hoppers. Again, the hoppers just coming in clutch with that hatred against dwarfs. Initiative 7, strength 5, AP 1, armor bane. That will kill heavy infantry. So these there was nothing they could do in that turn. And of course, we got the Mater hater over here on the side, just a little bit closer. The hoppers killed 6 rangers. That was huge. I got a big smiley face there. Dwarves turn 4. Burlock charges. As you can see here, then we had actually put a fanatic out to see if we could get him from this unit. We put a fanatic out there, and it came within an inch of Burlock, so he couldn't. And it was so close; it was literally nut to butt with Burlock. He could never have charged around the fanatic. I was literally just like, it was like 2 guys in a line waiting to get Slayer tickets or something like that. That's the only time you should fear the white race is when they're getting tickets to the Slayer concert or when Slayer is about to take the stage. So he decides to charge down there and bypass the fanatic. We shot him on the way in and did him for a wound, as you can see there with the dice behind him. And then, yeah, that's not good. And then this turn, between all the shooting he had, look at this unit right here. We got this unit right here, these guys. He killed 11 of these guys in the shooting phase on his 4, and the hopper kills 1 more dwarf and then dies in CQC. Let's see if we got a picture confirming that. Yeah, he killed 11. We miraculously made our leadership there, and we soldiered forward to get out of the firing arc. Him being toughness 1 doesn't help, and let's see here. This was my Goblin. Oh, so there was one round of shooting before. We just we ate up the last of the Rangers. Came over here like this. We shot them. Killed 5 with Goblin archers. Yeah, elite infantry soldiers with heavy armor ain't shit when they're toughness 1. They are not shit when they're toughness 1. And he had reroll armor saves of 1, but yeah, that was some old Deadeye shit right there, killing those 5. And then rifles turned around to shoot the squig. Nothing happens. And then crossbows shot here. How many did he kill? Crossbows kill 3 down in this unit. So we go into Goblins 5. The Mater Hater finishes off the, what do you call it? Oh, I forgot. He moved his last hero into here. The Mater Hater came down, killed the rest of the handgunners, and we reformed to get behind this rock so that he wouldn't have one more turn of shooting at me. He can shoot at the Mater Hater, but I don't think he's likely to kill it. Being ponderous on his turn, he decided to reform and get out of the reform, and then use his remaining movement to get out of the forest and call it good. And that's kind of where the world ends. I think that's our last photo. Yeah, that's exactly where the world ended right there. So I'm looking at, so just after this week's games and last week's games, I'm looking at another magic item I can buy, and I've got about, I think, 40 gold in the bank now that I can use to buy other things. I think it's like 5 gold that you have to turn in to buy. You have to turn in 15 gold to get one magic item purchased. But going to be completely different lists next time. Let's go over to the Beastman game and see what happened there. So I wanted to talk a little bit about strategy and tactics and everything like that. This is your standard open battle. This is usually scenario 1 at every tournament I've ever been to. And they always use the square base shit. And I mean, though this isn't bad, this is really geared towards a beginning player, in my opinion. You notice how there's multiple fronts, okay? Like 7 inches in, 7 inches in, 15 inches in. Like, you can get a little bit of cover from here. And then you've got 7 inches in, 7 inches in, 15 inches in over here. This layout, in my opinion, just, it really kind of sucks. You know, because if you are fighting a gunline army or a Skaven army for that matter, and you have a lot of shooting coming towards you and you're not geared to take on shooting. Now, my Night Goblins in the tournament are geared to take on shooting. They are geared to go after people who are going to bring a lot of guns to bear upon your army. If you watch my battle report video for the last RTT, I'll put the link in the description below. I mentioned having somewhere in the neighborhood of a potential of 8 to 9 cannon targets. If I wanted to deploy my boss on a cave squig by himself, that's 1 target. 2 units of wolf riders, that's an additional 3 targets. 2 units of squigs, 2 mangler squigs, and a giant. Not to mention 3 units of night goblins if need be. But that's 8 targets that you've got to deal with within the span of your turn that are going to be coming around you in multiple directions that you just, most of the time, like in bigger games, you can get rid of some of that stuff. But in a 2,000 point game, there's no possible way you handle it all. You are going to lose some of your guns, and I'm going to take certain objectives away from you by default by going after those guns. And just the terrain, the way that they do the terrain, I only mentioned in the last RTT pack that there was one scenario that I liked because the terrain actually did something. It allowed me to go, there was a forest. We'll just put my cursor in here. Can I zoom in on this? No, this is all, they're all gimps. They won't let me do anything else, so I have to do this. So, there was a forest right here, kind of in the kind of towards the center. I think it was 26 inches in, and it was. I was able to put things over here, kill the doom wheel, and come around, and then go towards his hill right here where all his artillery were. Right in the center, we had the big bell unit. Then we had 3 units of night goblins right there, and then whatever happened over here on the sides. Okay, so wherever the giant decided to go, where the giant and a mangler and a unit of Squig Hoppers decided to go this way with a unit of Wolf Riders and everything. But you notice where the terrain is. And if you notice some of the games today, I kind of put terrain in the middle of the field on a 4x4 where you can use it. Now, I'm not doing this to like gimp out people who want to have a gunline option. There's multiple ways you can deploy around that. Yes, in one of my games there was a hill in the middle and there were two houses, and you couldn't see over the hill, you couldn't see through the forest. You could have deployed to take the hill if you had to or something like that, but in my opinion, for the games, the terrain needs to be not in straight lines. You notice this is a straight line. 15 inches, that's a straight line. There's just huge, wide open corridors everywhere you go. I know it says in the rules that there's nothing supposed to be within 12 inches of the center. You know, you could put a giant piece of impassable terrain in the center. Maybe have a satellite little house over here, satellite little house over here, a wood down here that you can deploy in, but you can't see through it, and maybe a hill over here and a hill over here. However you want to do the terrain, this is just way too cookie cutter and basic, because if you are somewhat of a smart player and you want to make use of the terrain's not in any place, as you can see, because this is your deployment zone right here where my cursor is, and this is your deployment zone. There's really no place where you could put things in your army to avoid a massive amount of shooting. And that's one gripe I have with the terrain kit. And I think I have one more map here. All I could find were these images. Give me 1 second. No, this is good enough, but look at this again. It's just terrain in a straight line. You know, why don't you put a forest over here kind of in the center, and then maybe the hill over here, and then you can put a house over here. It's too cookie cutter, it's too basic, it doesn't lend itself to helping anyone. Now, when we did the King of the Hill scenario, you had a big hill in the center, and you can't see over that hill. That works. You couldn't see over the hill, and that does provide you some cover. If I had to take on the Skaven again in a different scenario, I would want it to be the King of the Hill scenario, where he has to come to the hill. And if he's going to let me have the top of that hill, I'm going to have a massive advantage over him. He'll have to take the hill, because you don't want me going up the hill and then sending fanatics downhill towards you. Because I can hide my giant behind the hill, you can hide your bell behind the hill. You need to have places that you can hide midfield. I'm not saying this is like 10th edition where you have Terminators literally hopping from terrain feature to terrain feature to get into the center objective right here, so that they don't get shot as they go from place to place. This doesn't have to necessarily, but it's just very bad cookie cutter design. You can take the hill and put it right here. You can have more than 6 pieces. You can make, and they have I believe the kit itself. Now the guy who runs the tournaments, he does a good job, and I think he has the felt. All of those are the approved square base felt cutout maps. But I think for me, that terrain should be bigger. Terrain should be huge. Like when I think of like terrain on a table and how it should be used and everything and how it should be deployed, I'm thinking it should be literally like the size of my hand, or it should be the size of a dinner plate. So when I build a table or something like that, I also kind of put my money where my mouth is. When I put like terrain out there for bigger games and everything, I want to give everybody an equal shot at getting around the enemy and fighting a war of maneuver. And you can see this hill. It's like literally the size of my torso. And I've got this big flat top on here. You can get some regiments, just pack them on. And, that's 3 chariots on top, and there's still room to slide up a 20-man tray and put a couple of 3D printed supports right there to make sure that they're on the hill. And then you also can't see past the hill and everything. When I do a forest flat or something like that, I reach for a forest flat that's like the size of my head. You can't see through it. You can put a big regiment in there. Make sure that you have cover if you're wanting cover. But if you don't want to be in the forest, you also have to fight a war of maneuver to get around the forest. I just think that the pieces are too small. And if they are out there, I can go to the map again And as you can see, they're just a little too small, in my opinion. You know, I mean, the terrain is completely away from the center. You've got a giant wide open field out here, and it's not benefiting anyone, you know? And it's just, to me, it's too much of an open floor design, in my opinion. You kind of want you want the terrain to be there, in my opinion. And then we can go into a different folder here, take a look at a photo, if I can get the cursor to work, of course. You know, and we'll just go to the setup page right here for the pitched battle that I did. You know, you got a piece of terrain over here. You got a little rock that you got to avoid during your deployment. There's a forest. He's got a forest. He's got a little rock. He's got something he can hide behind. And then there's also something, you know, these are equidistant midfield kind of, where you can use them if you want to. You know, it's all blocks, line of sight, impassable, but you can make it work both ways. He's got a forest. He's got some guys in the forest up there. And then, you know, you've got your skirmishers over here on an undefended flank. I've got my monster flanking, trying to go over here to get behind this piece of terrain. And this is just a 4x4 that we're playing on. It can benefit both sides. And especially in a game where you end up losing an entire regiment, it can make all the difference, because now I get over here and I'm safe again. I got enfiladed by these guys. I got messed up. And I mean, the maximum, my piddly dink shooting, even with the spell lowering these guys to toughness 1, that wasn't, that was like the maximum of what I'm going to get, best case scenario, out of my goblin archers any day of the week. Unless I had another unit back over there to back them up. But some advice for new players is you're gonna have to figure out a way to run at the enemy, and you know you probably want to use a couple of terrain pieces to help you do that, because the game can feel like power checkers. Oh look, I lost 11 dudes to the Slaughterfest over here, and that's not very fun. And you know, so newer players, I don't want you to get intimidated by shooting armies, because though they're very powerful, there are ways to get around them. But you know, terrain is one of those tools that you can use to help you. Having no terrain out in the center or anything like that, and not being able to fight that war of maneuver, very costly. Also, you know, I mean, what are my tools? I have three perfectly good units in Night Goblin world that I can use. I can use squigs on foot, I can use squig hoppers, and I can use squigs. Why do I want to use those? Those are the tools that are immune to psychology. They don't have to take panic tests. Panic test over here could have cost me my general unit, and luckily there's just over 25% of us left, and we could have rallied. But you know, I mean, it might not have happened that way. He might have gotten those points, and then I was able to get over here, gobble a unit up, and then get behind him after weakening a unit severely. So, you know, if you're new to the game and everything, and you're facing off against Skaven or Dwarves or Empire, and they've got a lot of powerful shooting, I just think that the square-based pack, probably not the best for helping you avoid that kind of firepower, you know. And let's see here. Even here, you look at this, it's just in a straight line. But if you want to talk further to me, I am always available to do that. I like talking to people. The best way to get in touch with me is DMs on Instagram. Instagram DMs are the best way to get in touch with me. You can always get me on the comment section of this video as well. And I like to talk to you there. Don't forget to like the video, because the algorithm is such that for every 8 likes I get on YouTube, YouTube will allow me to keep 1. So if you comment, I automatically get to keep the like. And that's how the algorithmic suppression works on YouTube. If you would be so inclined to share the video, that also helps immensely as well. Until next time, keep playing, keep fighting, and stay metal, my friends, and don't give up. Use some of the tools that's been put in your army at your disposal, and stay metal, my friends.
Even you, puppy dog. Hey, you need to grow a sack!